Now this tutorial is more like a beginner's lesson between all the complicated stuff, but I'll teach this my students, and I know it's a great way to getting familiar with the major and minor keys. So if you are struggling with finding chords that glue together in a musical way, then you probably have trouble in telling what chords there are in a particular key, what chords you can find in a particular key. Say a song is in the key of C major, then you want to know what other chords will sound well with that C major chord. Because there are no less than 7 chords in the scale that you can use to reach world fame. Or something like that. By the way, how do you know what the key of a song is anyway? Well, that's rather simple and straightforward. Just find out on what chord the song ends, or after which chord you would start to applause, or throw rotten tomatoes for that matter. Anyway, that end chord would be the key. So if a song ends on an A minor chord like this, then the key would most likely be A minor. Does it end on a D major chord like this? Then the key would be D major, and so on, and so on. Now to find every chord instantly, we can use a very easy to learn system or hack or whatever you want to call it. Although you can learn this system without knowing the names of the notes on the guitar, I strongly suggest that you learn at least the notes on the lower 2 strings, string 5 and 6. This will make your life as a guitar player much easier. It worked for the Neanderthals when they start to learn language, right? It also comes in handy if you know the 4 basic bar chords, like you see here. Now all 4 chords are derived from open chords: A, A minor, E major, E minor. Say we want to find the chords in the key of A major. Now we'll find the tonic A on the 6th string and on the 5th fret. It's the tonic of the A major scale and our starting point. Now below the tonic there's another note that belongs to the A major key. And 2 frets up there's again a note that belongs to the A major key. Now to learn this, try to see this as a triangle, the notes A, D and E. Now 3 frets down we'll find the same triangle. Also these 3 notes are notes from the A major key. The lowest note is the F sharp, then the B, and then the C sharp, both on the 5th string. So we have 2 triangle shapes that are easy to learn and to remember. Now we're missing 1 note from the scale, and that's the note that's located above the C sharp on the 6th string. And that is the note G sharp. This creates a rectangle instead of a triangle in the 2nd shape. Or you can visualize the last note as a note that is located just before the tonic. So now we have a triangle of 3 notes and a rectangle of 4 notes. And all 7 notes in a row make up that A major key or A major scale. A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp and G sharp. Either way, with the triangle and the rectangle, it's now very easy to see which notes are in a particular scale or key. Now we can do this, for instance, for C major, D major, and so on and so on. Now that you know how to find the notes in a major key, it's easy to learn the chords too. In the first triangle we find only major chords. So, in our example, the A major, D major and E major chord. In the second triangle we find only minor chords. These are the F sharp minor, the B minor and the C sharp minor. Left with only 1 note and thus 1 chord, we find the G sharp that converts the second triangle into a rectangle, remember? And this is always a diminished chord, but most of the times played as a half diminished 7 chord, also called a minor 7 flat 5 chord. So here we have it. The major scale, a triangle on the tonic with only major chords, then 3 frets down another triangle with only minor chords, and convert the second triangle into a rectangle for the half diminished chord. That's all. By the way, it's important to know that the chords in the first triangle are part of a classic progression or cadence, as it's sometimes called. It's the tonic, subdominant and dominant chord. And these are very important chord functions in many styles of music. It's part of a so-called functional harmony theory. When played after one another, it will sound very, very logical. Now, to find the notes and the chords in a minor key as quick as a wink, we can do the same thing as we did with the major key. Well, we take the A minor key as an example. Now, the first triangle will stay the same. The tonic A, then the note D and the note E. Now, instead of moving 3 frets down as we did with the major key, we're now going to move 3 frets up. And in this case to the note C on the 6th string. Now, here we can make again a triangle. The note C and the F and the G on the 5th string. And we're missing just one note, and that's the note that sits 2 frets higher than the tonic, the note B. And this converts the first triangle into a rectangle. So you see, there are lots of similarities. In fact, there's a strong relationship between the major and minor keys. It is called the principle of relative keys. And we see that later on in the video. Now let's find out which chords we can find in a minor key. Now let's get back to the key of A minor. Once we know the easy to remember shapes, we can associate chords with those shapes. Now in a minor key, the chords in the first triangle are all minor. A minor, D minor and E minor. Now the chords in the second triangle are all major. C major, F major and G major. And the last note that converts the first triangle into a rectangle is again the root of a diminished chord that is almost always played as a half diminished 7 chord. This is the B minor 7 flat 5 in this case. So now we have it for the minor keys too. The minor key, a triangle on the tonic with only minor chords, 3 frets up, another triangle with only major chords, and convert the first triangle into a rectangle for the half diminished chord. Now the major keys and minor keys have a particular relationship. And this relationship is called relative major and minor keys. Now the concept is straightforward. Relative keys are a major and a minor key that use exactly the same notes, only the tonic is different. Now we can say that a relative minor scale always starts on the 6th note of a major scale. For instance, in C major, the 6th note would be the note A. Starting the C major scale on the note A creates an A minor scale. C major and A minor use the same notes and are therefore relative scales. Still, they sound quite different. And that's because the tonal distances or intervals are different in both scales. For instance, the C major scale has a major third, an interval of 2 whole steps between the first and the third note. The A minor scale has a minor third, a distance of 1.5 steps between the first and the third note. Because those relative scales use the same notes, also the shapes that we have learned have the same form. The tonic of the relative minor scale is located 9.5 steps higher than the tonic of the major scale, but it's also located 3 steps lower. So F sharp minor is the relative minor of A major and has the same notes and thus the same shapes and thus the same chords for finding the notes and chords in the key. Now this would make life easier, right? Other relative keys are the G major and E minor key, D major and B minor, E major and C sharp minor, to name just a few. Well, if you want to know more about this, then just watch my video about scales and keys to learn all about the circle of fifths. And this is a very important system regarding to keys. With this simple hack or trick, it's easy to find notes and chords in a particular key very fast. If we would dive deeper into the theory, we could see that this is not really a trick or hack, but a concept with a theoretical explanation. Now within this lesson we keep it simple. The next thing you could do is make progressions with the chords to learn the positions even better and see what the relation is between the chords in the scale. Now if you want to know more of music theory pointed at the guitar in a practical manner, then you could watch other videos on my channel for a more in-depth experience. For now, goodbye and have lots of fun!